if the audience wants to check out the on the movies, the Secret Life of Walter Mitty, they can do that. It's up now. Um, it's I think it's got 8 to 10 views per clip. I just put that up probably about 6 7 hours ago, so those are
It's,
up.
it's a
But
fun
yeah,
show.
I agree with you about the fulfilling part. Like a few, like actually earlier today, someone was talking about. Often I'll post little clips or things, and they won't get any likes, or I'll be like, "Wow, nobody maybe didn't watch that." But I've just a moment ago, I'm trying to find out where it was. They're like, yeah, this person was like, yeah, I see your posts all the time and your promos, and I click on them and watch them, and I always wonder what you're up to. You seem like you're having fun and always so busy. And then someone last week, I'll read you what they said. It was last Friday. Um, I said, hey man, what I look for to find the shorter horror film that you guys did at the fairground. I was telling my girlfriend about how awesome it was, but I can't seem to find it to show her. So I sent him a link and I said, thanks man, that means a lot. And then he said, do you have any other things that I would like? And I sent him some links and he liked those. So just to get little things
It's
like
cool.
that are pretty cool. And I'll never forget, we had only done a few shows. It was before I had met you. We had done some shows at WMMT, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks. I was in Walmart and I was over like where toothbrushes and toothpaste and stuff is. So I was over on that side and I was talking to someone, it was Terry, I think. So somebody came around the aisle and they asked me if I was Adam C from the Midnight Mutant Show. And I was like, what? I could not believe it. And they just heard my voice and that filled me with, even telling it now, it fills me with a joy that I
Hmm.
don't often get because someone's actually recognizing you for something creative that you're putting out to people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and my thought was, well, even if he said he hated the show, I was like, well, he at least listens to the show
He
to
knows
know
it
me.
exists.
Now he'd said he did enjoy it, but regardless of that, it's um, just
I
weird little things like that. So like me and Shelly were in the Wizard World Comic Con a few years ago, and these girls kept looking at me, and Shelly said some kind of snide comment to me, and I was like, I don't know them. So one of them comes over to me and she asks me if I'm in, I forget what movie she says, but she asked me if I'm in a movie and if I'm at this Comic Con signing stuff, which I'm not at all. And I was like, I'm not. I said, well, I've been in a few little things and I named all the few things, but I said, probably nothing you've ever heard of. So that was, even though
That's
I wasn't
cool.
recognized for anything that I did, it was still kind of cool because I did see some of the Comic Con people there just walking through the crowd like nothing. So I
Yeah,
guess it wouldn't have seemed out of ordinary for that to happen.
exactly.
But it still made me happy, even though they hadn't seen anything that I had done. I still felt, well, they think they had, you know.
One of the coolest moments of my life, and it's one of the moments that I don't think I'll ever forget it until I get dementia, was when I was a mascot. We were traveling, and it was the last basketball game. We were at a tournament, and we lost the last game, so the season was over. It was one of the last times I ever put the suit on. So we traveled with a bunch of students. They packed up a bunch of students in a bus and took them down there too. So we kind of intermingling and everything. But again, being a mascot, nobody knows you exist, and I love that. I love that I could just be whatever. So I changed my the place that I changed was in the basketball team's locker room.
Yeah.
So I had like where the coaches section was. That's where I got to change that day because we were at somebody else's facility. So I changed in there, but all the students were still there. They were still up in the stands. And as every basketball player had changed and come out, they were applauding for them and like cheering them on. And there's probably like 50 students there. So
Yeah.
they were each doing it. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like good for this school because they're not a sports school. So good for them for actually like liking sports. And then I came out of the locker room and I was wearing
Yeah.
my cheerleading warm up suit, which they had, they'd spent a lot of time with the cheerleaders too. And
Yeah.
obviously I wasn't in a cheerleading suit, but I was just in the warm up, like the sweatsuit or whatever. And then I had this massive bag with me that's like a goalie bag, a hockey goalie bag that I had with me. And I walked out and they stopped for a second and they all just kind of looked at me. And they're up in the stands and there's like a lot of separation. There's a whole basketball court between us. And I'm standing there, I just kind of do my thing. And they all look at each other and then they start chanting the name of the mascot that I was, because they finally figured out that that's who I
Can I
was.
say what it is?
Yeah. And they started chanting it. So I smiled a little bit. And I was like, yeah, Sparky. So I kind of looked up and I smiled a little bit. I smiled a little bit and I was like, no.
Did you give a wave?
No, because I was like, no, that's not me. That's not me. And they kept doing it, kept doing it. I was like, that's not me. That's not me. And then they wouldn't stop. So I finally set my bag down, because when you're a mascot, you do things a lot bigger. Like you wouldn't just look at your watch like this. You would just like,
yeah.
Motion. Hold on, my speakers are broken again.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I finally set down my bag and I gave this big, huge bow to them. And they just they went off. They were applauding. They were screaming. They were yelling. And it was cool because it was the only time in my entire mascotting career that I was ever recognized for that I was recognized. Now my character was recognized for things, but I was never recognized
as Spartan before.
And it was the coolest thing in the world. And it felt like, it was like, wow, I actually did something with this. And it was nice to get recognition.
And people are applauding you for what you've done. Yeah. Is there any video of you of Sparky out there?
It's out there. Yeah, it's out there somewhere, but I don't know. You have to find it. I finished I was the second. There was this national mascot competition, and I ended up finishing second in it, behind South Dakota State Jackrabbits. They beat me out.
Wow.
Still to this day, I hate a jackrabbit.
I remember you telling about that on the radio show. We were telling the audience to go vote.
Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah.